Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over Rob's suspension on his 1986 D150 and what to do to drop it. So it involves 2-inch drop spindles in the front and some brackets and adjustment to the rear leaf springs. And we'll go over that in this episode and show you what you got to do to get your truck on the ground. Okay, so one of the things on the D150 that's a big deal is trying to drop the front end. So Rob got these 2-inch drop spindles from X2 Industries, and right now we found that they're the best on the market, and there's really only one other company that makes them, but X2 has the best casting, and it is their take on the Dakota spindle. And this is R1 Industries rotor that we have. If you watched any of the other Corvette videos I got or the Cadillac videos, it's the same thing I put on the Jeeps and the Hondas. And this is the stock D150 rotor. So everything works on it, but the problem that we're having right now is that everybody seems to just bolt up the factory steering arms, and you don't get the right geometry. So fortunately, Rob is a tool and die maker by trade, and he has the machines and the ability at his house and at work to go ahead and fix this. So what he's gonna end up eventually doing is we're gonna get the dimensions after we put the springs in and get the front of the truck on the ground with the wheels and tires to get the right height we need to find out whether this arm needs to go up, down, and he's probably gonna end up having to cut this off and machine the back surface of this, and probably using the factory brackets for the steering arm off the factory spindles, may end up modifying those and being able to mount those to the back of these to get the geometry we want, so that you don't get the bump steer? Oh, yeah. The bump steer, so, because that's crazy. So if you're gonna go through all of this time and effort and have your project turn into a 5-year, $1 million project like mine do, you might as well get it right. So that's what we're doing. Also, if you can see in here, this is where he cut and fabricated his own mounts to get the 340 in. We dropped the 340 in between the frame rails 2 inches. These are drilled, threaded, bolted, and welded. So this is not coming apart. And that way we can keep the proper steering geometry and not have any problems with the oil pan. So that modification did not change any of this. So we're still gonna have to see what we can do to get this right. This is the stock spindle, and then this control arm bolts onto here. And this is what originally went into your tie rod end. So the plan is to maybe see if we can cut, mill, and modify this in some way, because you can see the geometry, how it comes out and forward compared to the one that's cast onto the Dakota spindle. And apparently people use them, they just unthread their tie rod ends and put it in and bolt it in. But what we have found is once you tighten this down, your boot's gonna rub on the back side of the rotor, and we've even read that people actually grind down the outer tie rod end casing so that it doesn't hit. But again, you know, if you're gonna go through all of that trouble, why not just do it right? All right, over here on the driver's side, this is the steering. Was this the steering box that came off of it?
Yes.
Okay, this is the steering box that came off the truck originally. Rob sent it into a company called Redhead, hence the red cap when it came back. They fully rebuilt it and they changed the ratio. Stock was 18:1, and now this is 15:1 turning ratio, so steering ratio. So that'll help with the handling of the truck. We got the wider tires, we got the 400 horse 340, and the Dana 60 in the back. So this thing will be pretty good out on the street. All right, well, this is Rob's brand new Dana 60 from Strange Engineering. Would you get 354s?
Yeah.
Got 354 gears in it. Strange's cases have this extra webbing here for support. He had the forward flanges for the 9-inch welded on the outside with the bigger axles. He did opt for the brake kit. Strange Engineering provided him with the rotors, the calipers. So he got this thing complete, rotor to rotor, and all heavy duty parts. Obviously, kind of overkill for a 340, but if he ever upgrades to anything else, race motor, 440, Hemi, whatever, this thing's going to be bulletproof. So what'd you do to lower the rear end?
So with lowering the rear end on this truck, I purchased a mid to late 80s Chevrolet shackle, and I had to relocate the bolt holes so the distance was correct, and bolted the thing up with new bolts and bushings.
And so where was it originally? It was down below there, right?
Yeah, the stock one is about 4 inches tall. This one's about 7.5 inches tall.
And then what'd you do up here?
On the front, they don't make a lot of lowering parts for these trucks. So one of the things people do, and it works pretty well, is they remove this bracket, they turn it 180 degrees, and then you bolt the thing back on.
So did you have to flip them from side to side, or do you just spin it around?
Just spin it 180 degrees right here.
And you're gonna get what, like 2 inches?
No, this moved up about 4.5 inches.
Oh, 4.5. Okay, so that'd be killer.
If you just do the rear shackle, you get about 2 inches.
Okay, so you don't even need to really do the front if you're not looking for 4.
Correct.
Cool. Okay, well, we got the front end on the ground. And baby's low. It looks good. Let's go to the other side where the one that's got the caliper on it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this thing is gonna ride like a freaking car.
So that's gonna be
right, because